Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Believe me, by far, this is my nicest meeting of the day. So, I'm with the Nevada System for Higher Education. I'm executive director of what's called the Nevada College Collaborative. The job didn't exist before. I work with the community colleges, overseeing some of their business operations and seeing how we can find efficiencies to actually move the colleges forward and make them stable, basically. The recession has really taken a lot out of budgets across the state, including education. Higher education lost about $250 million worth of funding over this recession period, and we hope to be able to get reinvestment now in higher education. But in the community colleges, along with the universities, took a hit. Prior to what I'm doing now, as Dr. Ryan said, I was with the Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. I was their director for about 2.5 years, part of the governor's cabinet. I worked along with Chancellor Klaich on the cabinet at that time. Prior to that, I used to run the Southern Region for Economic Development for the state. So there's a method to my madness here. There's a link between economic development, employment, and higher education. And one of the things I want to do today is talk to you about what you're doing and how you're affecting the employability of the young people you serve in your classrooms. And career and technical education is going to be the most important link we have in this state to the workforce for decades to come. Not years to come, decades to come. This is the first time we have ever had, and fortunately, some of this was put in place prior to the recession, or at least the plans were, and some of the investment was made. But fortunately, this framework and the beginning of what you're doing began prior to the recession, and the recession was basically a bad blip on the radar screen, a very bad blip on the radar screen. But in thinking about my comments today, I put together, I think most of you have a sheet in front of you with a vortex there, picture of a vortex. Okay. What I'd like you to imagine, I started to use a wishing well. Have you seen those wishing wells where you drop a penny in and it just keeps going around and around and around and then speeds up and then goes into the bottom? Okay. This is what I'm trying to show you here is that what you're doing in career and technical education is somewhat like that. You're forming, through inspiration and knowledge, the career of individual young folks and preparing them for their future. And then you're drilling down to technical disciplines that will train them for specific opportunities. That's what that indicates. And that's what that picture I was trying to create for you. As you can see, I'm not that creative. However, the fact is that you are having that kind of an impact on their overall life. And the investment you're making in the time that you're spending with them is forming what will be the next workforce for us in the state of Nevada, we hope. Which means that you are not only teaching them technical skills, but you're teaching them life skills, the soft skills they need to understand what it means to exercise those technical skills and get a job and work on a daily basis. When I was director of employment and with economic development, every employer that came to us or that was coming to the state of Nevada, they talked about the level of education in Nevada and the rankings and all that sort of stuff. Forget about some of that. What they're really talking about is they wanted to have an employable person walk in the door. Whether the person's young or old, they wanted them to be employable. They wanted them to be able to problem solve. They wanted them to be able to communicate. Simple skills that you are, or not so simple skills maybe, but skills that you're giving them in the classroom on a daily basis. So as you are teaching them technical skills, if you're drilling down, or as you're drilling down to those technical skills, they need the life skills that you're imparting to them on an ongoing basis to be able to employ those technical skills. The folks who who really can't communicate what they know aren't going to get the good jobs. It's just that simple. Another real world example. Right now we're working on, they know about the Pathways program, right, that we're doing?
Manufacturing?
Yeah.
Well, not most of them.
Can I talk about it? Okay. One of the things that I have personally a great interest in, and employers will have an interest in, and we have an interest in terms of employability, is a Pathways program being designed by Dr. Ryan in conjunction with economic development and in conjunction with Dean New at Truckee Mills Community College and a few others. And it's a program that's based on a German model of vocational education. But picture a highway and picture off-ramps. And basically the highway is the pathway of a young person's career. And they are going to be looking for a means by which they can support themselves and work over a long period of time. That career might end up as being a mechanical engineer in this particular case, or they might be a manufacturing technician, an entry level. But all along the way, there are other certificates they can gain or other training they can gain to improve their skill levels and make them more employable or make them actually sustain their employment and make more money. Quite frankly, as they move in their career, that's what they want to do. But also, we want to be able to give them a pathway, or show them a pathway where they can end up being a mechanical engineer if that's what they want to do or if that's what their parents are talking about them doing, et cetera, et cetera. So what has been designed thus far, and we hope to pilot this fall, we will pilot this fall, is a pathway that begins in your junior year of high school, could result, depending on the coursework they take in this pathway, being a manufacturing technician after a year in a community college, and actually be able to attain an associate's degree in community college after their 2 last years in high school and a year in community college. We're working toward that becoming a mechanical engineering degree if they so choose, if they stay on this pathway, in what's called a 3-2 model, where they would do 3 years in engineering at UNR, combined with their 2 years of community college work that they've already done. So that will result in over a 6-year period, actually, starting in their junior year, ending up with a mechanical engineering degree. Did I calculate that correctly? Yeah, okay. So that's the kind of work that's being done now by your leader and what we're trying to do in collaboration. This is the first time we've ever done anything like that in the state. My boss, as the chancellor, knows kind of what we're doing, but he really hasn't had an in-depth briefing. I'll tell him tomorrow, probably. But I just briefed the president of TMCC on it this morning. But that particular model, that European model, is one that has been very, very successful with the top, really one of the top engineering producing countries in the world. That can be replicated, though, across a number of different disciplines. I can imagine it being in IT, I can imagine it being in health sciences, I can imagine it being in a number of different disciplines. That's the kind of work we'd like to see happen. Because as the feedback comes to us, as I begin to talk to the Teslas of the world, for example, when I talk to them on an ongoing basis, they're looking for employable individuals. They don't have to be skilled in a specific discipline. They need to be employable because most employers actually train folks after they have entered their workforce. They might, but they come in as being employable individuals. That's what we're preparing in terms of the workforce of the future here. And this model, what you're doing on an ongoing basis, is going to be a best practice nationwide. This is not replicated anywhere else that I'm aware of at this point. Probably is, but the fact of the matter is that it's never been done in Nevada, that's for sure. So the forward thinking that this group is doing and the work that you're doing with young folks is going to be extremely meaningful. I just asked this young lady at Worcester, she works with the JAG program, Jobs for America's Graduates program, which targets potential dropouts in their junior year and works with them and has been very successful nationwide. We launched that program in Nevada 2 years ago. I was fortunate to launch it on behalf of the governor, and I chair the foundation that funds the JAG program now. We're in 23 schools across the state. We will be in 37 next fall and 50 the fall following that. There again is another pipeline, and as we begin to form these pipelines and begin to put young folks into these pipelines with opportunity, that's really where we will succeed in terms of overcoming a dropout rate, overcoming anything else that we hear about in terms of the list that we're at the bottom of, and that we will be creeping up to closer to the top of as we move along. So in my background and in what we try to get accomplished, you're a very, very important part of. And I want you to know that, but I also want to emphasize how important it is that you become part of these children's lives and these young folks' lives on an ongoing basis. And you are really the foundation for them in terms of you're the foundation that they hold on to in terms of where their future is going to be. Those conversations that you have with them, those words of wisdom that you pass on, they'll remember them.